2. When most people think of powerful ancient kings, they think about someone like Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great. However, there was one king who arguably surpassed both of them in terms of power and wealth. His name was Darius the Great, and he was the king of the Achaemenid Empire. This empire was also known as the Persian Empire, and it's considered to be one of the largest empires in history. But how exactly did Darius become so powerful? Well, let's find out in today's episode. At its greatest extent, the Achaemenid Empire stretched from Central Asia all the way to Eastern Europe. It encompassed territories such as modern-day Turkey, Syria, Egypt, Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. At the time, this was a truly massive empire. Under the rule of Darius, it boasted an army of 90,000 soldiers, 170,000 mercenaries, and countless auxiliary troops. He also inherited a vast treasury from his predecessors that enabled him to pay for large infrastructure projects. Bombs, including over 100 gigantic palaces which some historians argue may have been more impressive than even those of the Egyptians or Romans. The Egyptians and Romans took their architecture from the Persians, by the way. But what made Darius the Great stand out from other ancient rulers? What were his defining characteristics? And how did he shape history? Well, first off, he was a visionary leader, with a clear goal of uniting the entire civilized world under one banner. Secondly, he was a military genius who led his armies to victory in dozens of battles. Thirdly, he was an intelligent strategist, who knew when to make peace with his enemies and when to negotiate favorable treaties. Fourthly, he was a skilled administrator who kept the vast empire running smoothly without any major issues. Lastly, he was a religious man who respected all faiths, but promoted his own religion, called Zoroastrianism, throughout his domain. So clearly, Darius had many great qualities, but how did he put them into practice? How did he use them to build his legacy? Let's take a look at some key moments in his life and reign. Like many great leaders, Darius came from humble beginnings. He wasn't born into royalty or privilege. Instead, he was born into obscurity around 550 BC to a family of commoners. But that didn't stop him from dreaming big and aiming high. In fact, it fueled his ambition and determination to succeed against all odds. As a young man, he proved himself to be a capable warrior and an effective administrator, rose through the ranks of the military, and eventually became satrap, meaning governor of a province. When the Achaemenid Empire overthrew the previous Median Empire, Cyrus the Great became the first king of the Achaemenid dynasty and made his capital at Persepolis. His son Cambyses II succeeded him and conquered Egypt and extended the empire further into Africa. However, after Cambyses' death, the empire fell into a civil war, and Darius found himself in a precarious position. He was just one of several contenders for the throne, but he was determined to win. So he allied himself with another claimant named Darius, and together they defeated the other pretenders and established Darius as the new emperor. From this point on, Darius would rule for the next 36 years, until his death in 486 BC. During this time, he focused on three main goals: securing his position, expanding his territory, and reforming his administration. To secure his position, he had to deal with several rebellions and invasions from outside powers. See, for example, he faced threats from the Scythians in the north, the Greeks in the west, and the Indus in the east. But he managed to defeat them all and establish peace along his empire's borders. To expand his territory, he launched several military campaigns into Central Asia and India. He also conquered Thrace, which gave him control over the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. These victories made him the ruler of the largest empire the world had ever seen up to that point. But while Darius was a great warrior, he was also a great diplomat, too. He knew that diplomacy was just another form of warfare, only without bloodshed, so he used it to his advantage. For example, he forged alliances with the Egyptians and the Israelites by marrying princesses from these nations. He also negotiated a truce with the Greeks, whom he had fought against before, and opened up trade between them. Through these alliances and truces, Darius gained access to new markets, resources, and technologies. Now, perhaps the most important thing that Darius did was reform his administration. realized that his empire was too vast and complex to be ruled by a single person or a small group of nobles. So he divided it into 20 provinces called satrapies, each governed by a satrap who was responsible for collecting taxes, maintaining order, and defending the borders. He also introduced a new currency called the siglos, which made trade easier and more efficient. He built roads, bridges, hospitals, schools, and other public works that improved the lives of his subjects. He established a postal system that allowed messages and goods to be delivered quickly across the empire. Darius's administrative reforms made the Achaemenid Empire one of the most stable and prosperous states in ancient times. It was during his reign that the empire reached its peak in terms of size, wealth, and influence. Darius was not only a successful ruler, but also a gifted orator. He could speak several languages, including Old Persian, Elamite, Babylonian, and Greek. He was fluent in all of them. This ability to communicate effectively with his diverse subjects and to project his authority abroad. One of his most famous speeches was the Behistun inscription, which he carved on a rock monolith near the city of Behistun. On that rock monolith, Darius proudly proclaimed his lineage, his deeds, and his laws in 3 languages: Old Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian. The Behistun inscription is not only a masterpiece of ancient writing, but also a testament to Darius's linguistic skills and his desire to be remembered as a great king. Many of Darius's accomplishments were made possible by his wife, a woman named Persepolis, who was the daughter of the former king of Croesus. Persepolis was not only a beautiful and intelligent woman, but also a brave and loyal one. She supported her husband through thick and thin and helped him overcome many obstacles. She was especially instrumental in securing the loyalty of the Western satrapies, which were crucial for the stability of the empire. Persepolis was also a patron of the arts and sciences. She commissioned many works of art and literature and encouraged the study of history and geography. She was a true Renaissance woman ahead of her time. Darius and Persepolis had several sons, but only 2 of them survived to adulthood. The elder son was named Xerxes I, who succeeded Darius after his death. Xerxes inherited his father's empire and his passion for conquest. He continued Darius's work of expanding the empire and launched a campaign against the Greeks. However, Xerxes' invasion ended in failure, and he lost much of his prestige and power. The younger son was named Artaxerxes I, who succeeded Xerxes after his brother's abdication. Artaxerxes was not as ambitious as his father or grandfather, but he was a wise and cautious ruler. He focused on consolidating the empire and defending it from outside threats. Both of Darius' sons went on to have long and eventful reigns, but neither of them matched their father's achievements. Darius the Great was not only a great king of Persia, but also a pivotal figure in world history. He connected the East and West, facilitated cultural exchanges, and shaped the course of ancient civilizations. He was a visionary leader who saw beyond borders and differences. He understood the importance of diversity and inclusion. He was a true monarch who ruled with wisdom and justice. He was a pioneer who dared to dream big and achieve the impossible. He was Darius the Great, the King of Kings. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. We appreciate your support. Please don't forget to share your feedback in the comments section below. We value your input and can't wait to hear what you think. Thanks again for watching and see you soon.